It's time for another Overrated review, the most casual reviews on all of the internet. I am Bradley Overrated, and today's video game is, in fact, Final Fantasy VII Remake, my most anticipated game of 2020. And without further ado, let's talk about this game now. I am so impressed with the way they handled this game overall. This game is truly a love letter to all of the Final Fantasy VII fans out there that grew up, myself included, that played this game as a child. They overhauled the entirety of the game, provided a lot more story, a lot of interesting surprises and twists about the story, especially towards the end that I did not see coming, and I think the game is all the better for it. When they say remake, they meant it. They literally took a 1997 old-timer 3D pixelated type of video game and they made it HD and beautiful. All of the character designs, Midgar itself, who knew the slums could look so pretty? And the soundtrack is just top notch, couldn't get enough of it, and I am impressed by everything they have done so far in this remake. But buyer beware, if you are expecting this game to just be an exact remake of the original, you are going to be sorely mistaken, because not only were the graphics and the characters and the soundtrack and all of that stuff completely remade, so was the battle system and the boss battles. The ATB system that everyone is accustomed to is completely overhauled, so do be prepared for that, and also do bear this in mind that this is only the first part of this remake. This game is not done yet. There are going to probably be several games before Final Fantasy VII Remake is truly finished. Let's go ahead now and talk about some of the juicy, finer details of the game now, including combat. I like the combat. I thought it was fun, fast-paced, it was chaotic. You have these brief moments where you can freeze your characters and switch to another one, or command your teammates and tell them what to do. The ATB system is excellent. I love it. I couldn't get enough of it. It was kind of this interesting concept of having to wait to use items and to use your special abilities to cast magic. You couldn't just go willy-nilly and do whatever you wanted. You had to patiently wait before you could do special abilities, and I thought they did a really great job with it. I couldn't get enough of the combat. But it were the boss fights that really stood out to me. Might be my favorite thing about this game overall. They were unique, each one was different, each one brought something new to the table. I couldn't get enough of them. They have their strengths, they have their weaknesses, they could counterattack you. You had to micromanage your characters, make sure they were always healed up. You had to make sure that certain characters did certain things at certain times, and it was wonderful. It was just an exhilarating adrenaline rush, especially when they kicked up the music, man. Couldn't be happier about it. When it comes to voice acting, I really enjoyed it. Honestly, the voice actors did a tremendous job. They sounded just like I pictured how they would have sounded when I was, a little kid playing this game all the way back in 1997 or whatever. I just really liked the voice acting in this game. I liked the story. I like that they changed it up and that it doesn't necessarily follow the exact timeline of the original. I'm not going to spoil anything else about this game, or anything really. Let me just say the story itself is spectacular. It's wonderful. This narrative, I just can't wait to see where they take it from here. The biggest issue I had, however, had to do with the pacing of the game. Some of the chapters went really fast at times, and some of the chapters felt like they took an eternity to finish. Here's Looking at You, Chapter 18. And while I appreciate they wanted to add in a bunch of extra content, some of these chapters, they could have cut a few of these things out and kind of just gone straight to the point. There's no need to put in all this extra stuff, especially when it doesn't really help improve the story or the situations. And that, especially towards the end of the game, Chapter 18 specifically, they definitely could have streamlined that just a little bit more. And if you're looking for extra content in this game, there's a lot of side quests, and some of them are great and really fun, some of them a little bit tedious. But there's also collectibles like music discs and manuscripts to find and collect. There are Moogle awards you can obtain, extra materia that's just scattered about, including special summons. There's a lot of bang for your buck. You can replay the entire game in hard mode and go find everything you want to in this game, so there's easily dozens and dozens of hours here to behold, and I think it's a really enjoyable time. So let's go ahead and give this game the breakdown, and there's a lot to love here. This is a really good start to the Final Fantasy VII Remake series. I am completely on board now. I was kind of skeptical, a little bit worried, but after playing this game and now putting in my 50th hour and counting, I will probably have over 100 hours by the time I finish. There's a lot more to love versus what there is to not love, and I think they've done such a tremendous job, and everyone that worked on this game should be congratulated because it's wonderful. It's definitely a Game of the Year contender for me. So when it comes to my letter grade, and if you're new here, I give letter grades because that's just the way I roll, A being the best, F being the worst, obviously. I am going to give Final Fantasy VII Remake a very, very solid A-. If they could just fix the pacing issues and maybe give a little bit more bang for my buck, maybe throw in some better mini games, because I didn't specifically enjoy smashing boxes as a mini game, then this game and this series could just really improve and just be perfect for me. If you're a Final Fantasy fan though, this is a must play, guys. This is a hands down, you should be trying this. It's worth the $60 entry fee. I couldn't recommend it enough. And when it comes to whether or not I think this game is overrated, obviously I don't. I do think it is valid if people have some harsh criticism for this game. There's definitely some criticism that is deserved in it, and so I think this game is rated accordingly. But I loved it. I absolutely loved this game. I just think it is wonderful. Final Fantasy fans can rejoice. It is another solid entry into this much beloved series of mine, and I can't wait to play the next one. Alright everyone, this concludes my overrated review of Final Fantasy VII Remake. I do hope you enjoyed it, but I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to let this fanboy kind of indulge. It's actually, surprisingly, my first Final Fantasy video game review that I've done on this channel, which is, you know, kind of surprising for me, especially when you consider how much I profess to be a Final Fantasy fanatic. But all the same, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for taking the time, and I will see you guys on the next Overrated review. I am Bradley Overrated, out like a trout, and have a great day.